Along the long river of human history, each archaeological discovery is like finding a shining gem hidden in the dust of time. Gradually, they link together into a dazzling necklace that reveals the past. If you only read news reports about isolated archaeological findings, you likely won't fully grasp their significance when placed in the broader context of the history, culture, and civilization of all humankind, and even of prehistoric civilizations. If you can connect them together, you'll be surprised to discover just how limited our understanding of history is, a regrettable shortcoming. What's your impression of history? Backward societies? Primitive architecture? Limited technology? Then today, let's count down the 10 most astonishing archaeological discoveries, strange structures of all shapes and sizes scattered across the world. Let's uncover the secrets hidden by time and feel the allure and depth of history, to see if your thoughts might change a little. The 10 most astonishing archaeological discoveries in the world. Hello everyone. First, let's head to number 10, the ancient city of Tikal, the largest urban center of the pre-Columbian Maya civilization. This place is like a historical park. It hides deep within the dense jungle of today's Watal. This was once one of the most important political, economic, military, and religious centers in the central lowlands of the Maya region. It was also among the earliest and longest-lasting city-states of the Maya civilization, with over 100,000 people living a prosperous life here. The site includes hundreds of ancient buildings, though only a small number of them have been discovered through archaeological excavations over the past few decades. These exquisitely carved and colorfully decorated images are visually as impressive as any art gallery. But perhaps you'll wonder, why did these intelligent Maya people choose to build their city in such rugged, mountainous jungle terrain? Besides, Tikal was also a paradise. For wildlife lovers, this place is home to many different species, from jaguars and toucans to snakes, both fascinating and awe-inspiring. Long ago, how did the Maya manage to live in peace with these creatures? However, what people find most mysterious is this. In the central square of Tikal, dozens of commemorative stelae were erected. Scholars call them parade stelae. They stand in neat rows, recording natural phenomena, political events, and major religious ceremonies of that era. The earliest was carved in the year 292 AD, the latest in 869. This stone carving tradition lasted nearly 600 years. But then, suddenly, the carving ceased. Along with it, an entire glorious era mysteriously vanished, abandoned in the jungle without explanation. In 835, construction on the Palenque Pyramid Temple halted. In 889, the temple complex being built at Chica was interrupted. And by 909, the final Maya city also stopped its construction efforts. The stone column was more than halfway completed. Throughout the 9th century, hundreds of city-states in the central lowlands were suddenly abandoned all at once. These once prosperous, flourishing cities seemed to vanish simultaneously without leaving any explanation behind. The glorious classical era of civilization ended in haste. A grand historical chapter closed so abruptly. The rock-hewn churches of Lalibela are located in Ethiopia, about 300 kilometers from the capital, Addis Ababa. There are a total of 11 churches here, most of them built during the reign of King Lalibela in the late 12th century and still well preserved today. The Lalibela churches are divided into 2 clusters, 4 churches in the northern cluster and 7 in the southern. You'll be amazed to discover that these mysterious churches were essentially carved directly from solid rock. First, they marked the outline of the church's shape. Then, they dug downward along the marked lines, carving out 3 of the 4 sides, followed by the entrances and windows. Finally, they chiseled out the inner structure of the church. From above, these churches look like exquisitely crafted works of art, embedded directly into the ground. At the same time, the churches are connected to each other by tunnels and footpaths, allowing easy passage for people between them. After centuries of weathering, many parts of these churches now reveal the traces of time. The steps and handrails have been worn smooth. That's why many believe these rock-hewn churches truly deserve to be called the eighth wonder of the world. If you ask Ethiopian believers, they'll even tell you that these churches were built by angels. According to legend, the reason for their existence is that King Lalibela of Ethiopia received a divine message, a command from God, in one of his dreams. God instructed him to build a new Jerusalem here and told him to use an entire block of stone to construct the churches. So, King Lalibela obeyed the divine instruction. On this high stone plateau at 2,600 meters above sea level in northern Ethiopia, and mobilized more than 20,000 workers to carve out 11 rock-hewn churches over 24 years. Since then, Lalibela has become a holy site for the Ethiopian people. In 1978, the rock churches of Lalibela were designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site. To this day, every year on January 7th, Ethiopian Christmas, worshippers from thousands of miles away still gather here to celebrate this important holiday. Along the Suffolk coast in southern England, there is a sandy area covered in rhododendrons. On it sits a country estate called Sutton Hoo, along with a number of mysterious burial mounds. Let's turn back time to 1926. Frank Pretty, newly married at the time, spent £15,250, equivalent to about $950,000 today, to buy a beautiful home for himself and his wife. The couple lived at Sutton Hoo for nearly 9 years, until Mr. Pretty passed away in 1934. However, his wife continued living there. One day, she became curious about the mounds on her estate. Eventually, she hired a local archaeologist named Basil Brown to excavate the earth mounds. But no one could have expected that, as layers of soil were removed, a ship would slowly begin to emerge, even though the wood had completely decayed. But its ghostly outline still remained. At the center of the ship was a trove of treasures, such as weapons, silver diningware, gold coins, and precious stones. Throughout the entire archaeological excavation, no body was ever found. Experts believe that the soil in the area is highly acidic, so the remains were completely dissolved. That's why, among the treasure, only a human-shaped void was left behind. Experts deduced that this was a royal Anglo-Saxon tomb, one that had luckily escaped the eyes of grave robbers. And among the many discoveries, the item that drew the most attention was a dazzling helmet, like a warrior's battle helm. Such a helmet had never been found in England before. Not only was the helmet unique in its structure, but its exterior design was astonishingly similar to a helmet previously unearthed in Uppsala, Sweden. This suggests that the craftsman who made it may have come from Sweden. It also indicates wide-ranging cultural exchange across regions. The archaeological discovery at Sutton Hoo can be said to have completely transformed our understanding of England. In the early stages, the discovery of one artifact after another told us that this settlement site likely did not belong to the Vikings, but rather to the Anglo-Saxons. The stone structure of Göbekli Tepe is the oldest known large-scale stone formation site. It is located about 10 kilometers from Urfa in eastern Turkey and was discovered by a Kurdish shepherd in 1994. At first, people thought it was just an ordinary mound in Turkey, nothing of great value. However, starting in 1996, Professor Klaus Schmidt from the German Archaeological Institute began excavating the site and continued for 20 years. Through dating techniques, this site was traced back to between 7,560 BCE and 9,139 BCE, that's more than 10,000 years ago, predating the Egyptian pyramids by about 7,000 years. Overnight, it sent shockwaves through the archaeological world. Moreover, the mystery of Göbekli Tepe lies not only in its ancient age, but also in how it was constructed. The scale of Göbekli Tepe's stone architecture is immense, consisting of many massive circular enclosures. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, don't forget to leave a comment, hit the like button, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any upcoming videos. Thank you so much. Each architectural complex was made from blocks of massive stone blocks were used to construct it. Some of these stones stood as tall as 5 to 6 meters and weighed up to 20 tons. On these giant stones were intricate carvings depicting animals of the time, such as wild boars, ducks, long snakes, even crayfish and lions, along with various symbolic motifs. Until now, we've believed that the advent of agriculture enabled humans to build large-scale architectural structures. However, the existence of Göbekli Tepe clearly overturns this view, because it was built even earlier than the emergence of farming activities. This means that, during the era of hunting and gathering, as we've always imagined, humans were already capable of constructing monumental structures like this. But what's even more puzzling is that the size and architectural techniques of the site seem to have declined over time. Archaeologists discovered that every few decades, people buried the older large stone circles and replaced them with smaller ones made from newer stones. The entire site was essentially built and buried, then rebuilt and buried again. A cycle repeated throughout the process. Archaeologists found that the earliest stone circle was the largest. Its construction techniques and technologies were the most advanced and refined. Over time, the stone pillars became smaller, their shapes simpler, and their arrangements less precise. By around 8,200 BCE, the construction at Göbekli Tepe had largely ceased. The entire stone circle declined and eventually turned into a mound, rising about 15 meters above the surrounding plain, burying a once glorious skill deep underground. Perhaps Göbekli Tepe is not just an archaeological site. It resembles a mystery yet to be solved, and the key may lie in its original purpose. Indeed, every excavation opens a new page in human history. Angkor Wat, known as the largest religious monument in the world, is a magnificent marvel of the ancient East. It lies to the north of Siem Reap, Cambodia, covering an area of 162.64 hectares, a monumental work of the ancient Khmer. It is said that Angkor Wat once served as the capital of the ancient Khmer Empire and reached its golden age in the 12th to 13th centuries. The Khmer Empire at that time ruled over the entire Indochina Peninsula, with a large population, great wealth, and flourishing culture prosperous. And Angkor Wat can be said to be the glorious symbol of the Khmer Empire. It was built in the early 12th century, commissioned by King Suryavarman II, and took 35 years to complete. The entire structure consists of 5 towers, 3 enclosing walls, and a surrounding moat. Its architectural style blended elements of Hinduism and Buddhism. The intricate, complex carvings intertwined scenes from Hindu and Buddhist mythology with depictions of daily life in ancient Cambodia. However, by the 15th century, the once thriving and prosperous city of Angkor was mysteriously abandoned. After that, the site was gradually overtaken by the jungle. It wasn't until 1914 that a French soldier rediscovered the remains of the place. Regarding the theories about why Angkor vanished, there are many. The most common is the foreign invasion theory. This theory suggests that in 1431, the Ayutthaya dynasty invaded Angkor, looted vast amounts of treasure, and even took the Khmer king away. Then, the following year, when they returned to Angkor again, they found the place empty. Not a single soul remained. However, later archaeological findings suggest that this popular theory might not be very plausible. First of all, they found no clear signs of war-related destruction. No buildings burned, no statues smashed, no treasure looted. This indicates that Angkor was likely not attacked or seriously plundered. Secondly, they also found no evidence of large-scale migration, such as abandoned livestock, farming tools, or household items. This suggests that not all of Angkor's residents had left. So then, where did they go? What is the real truth behind it all? Perhaps the answer still lies hidden within the temples of Angkor, awaiting future archaeological discoveries. Before we talk about the underground palace of Hal Saflieni, maybe we should first learn a bit about where it's located. Malta, a beautiful island nation with sunlit beaches and clear blue skies. Malta has endured many disasters throughout its history due to its geographic location in the center of the Mediterranean Sea. A key route for maritime transport from the Mediterranean Sea to the Atlantic Ocean and the Indian Ocean, Malta has been a battleground for military strategists since ancient times. Over the past 2,000 years, it has been ruled by the Phoenicians, Romans, Arabs, Normans, Spanish, Knights Hospitaller, French, and the British. It wasn't until 1964 that Malta separated from the Commonwealth and declared its independence. In 1974, the Republic of Malta was officially established. This incredibly complex historical backdrop has undoubtedly led to a unique blending of different historical and cultural influences. Rulers over time built temples, churches, castles, and palaces, each reflecting their own nation's architectural style. Many of these ancient buildings, some have become ruins, while others lie buried beneath wild grass and thyme. Although Malta's total land area is only 316 square kilometers, archaeological evidence shows that humans have lived on the Maltese islands since the Neolithic period, around 5,800 years ago, 4000 BCE. From as early as 3,500 to 1500 BCE, the island's inhabitants had already constructed more than 30 megalithic temples and tombs, among the oldest in the world. There is likely no other place with such limited land area that boasts 3 UNESCO World Heritage Sites and 320 ancient architectural works of great artistic and historical value, like Malta. And among these 3 World Heritage Sites, the most mysterious belongs to the underground palace of Hal Saflieni. In 1902, just south of Valletta, Malta's capital, a small, quiet road that had never drawn any attention suddenly became the focus of global interest. It turns out, a local resident accidentally discovered a massive cave while digging the foundation to build a house. When archaeologists arrived to excavate it, they were astonished to find that the entire complex consisted of 33 chambers spread across 3 levels. The deepest point lies 12 meters below ground. The central hall has a semicircular roof supported by massive and smaller pillars, all carved directly from giant stone blocks. These colossal monolithic columns stand atop seamless stone platforms. Among them, the uppermost parts of 2 burial chambers are carved with beams, door frames, and murals. Along with this, around 7,000 sets of human remains. So at the time, most people believed this place was used for funerals or ritual sacrifices. The lines of the entire architecture are sharp, angular, and flawless. Not a single defect has been found, proving it was entirely carved from stone. It is truly an underground palace. What's even more astonishing is that, through calculation, scientists found that this underground palace was built between 3,200 and 2,900 BCE, in the distant, low-productivity Stone Age, when humans had not yet discovered metal and tools were still made of stone knives and axes. How did they manage to do it? Furthermore, the most mysterious part is, the underground palace has no windows or ventilation shafts, yet the air remains remarkably fresh. Archaeologists have studied this for years, yet have found no clues to solve these puzzles. In 1980, this palace was designated a UNESCO World Cultural Heritage Site and became one of the world's official heritage landmarks. Petra is an ancient city in Jordan. For several centuries, it frequently appeared in historical records, yet no one had ever found it, until 1812, when a Swiss explorer introduced us to Petra, the ancient city that played hide-and-seek better than any other in the world. It turns out Petra was hidden in a narrow canyon connecting the Dead Sea to the Gulf of Aqaba. Its only entrance is a narrow passage about 1.5 kilometers long, known as the Snake Path. The widest point is around 7 meters, and the narrowest just wide enough for a single horse-drawn carriage. Once inside the canyon, the winding corridor weaves through cliffs shaped by wind and rain over countless years. The rocks on the towering walls have become smooth and polished. Walking along the cliff, looking up at the sky, you'll see a narrow strip of blue, both breathtaking and beautiful. The name, a strip of horizon, comes from this view. At the city's center lies a vast plaza. In front of the plaza stands the majestic Al-Kazne temple, carved into a steep hill. Its entrance is framed by Roman columns. Inside the temple are statues of the Virgin Mary and ancient murals. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, don't forget to leave a comment, hit the like button, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any upcoming videos. Thank you so much. There is also an open-air theater with a seating capacity of more than 2,000 people. Both the stage and the seating area were carved from stone. Within the city, there are many more temples, houses, baths, and tombs. Most of them were carved directly from the mountains. The level of architectural and sculptural precision is truly unbelievable. What's more, despite having existed for thousands of years, the city remains astonishingly well preserved. Those walking through the streets of Petra will feel the weight of history and the flow of time, rather than the sterile atmosphere of a museum. Another remarkable point is this. When observing closely, you'll notice that Petra's architecture isn't just massive in appearance. Even its main doors reach a height of 8 meters. You can see how tiny a normal person looks when standing next to one. In fact, even the door sills are taller than the average human height. In the architectural complex, for example the monastery in Petra, the exterior alone rises to 47 meters. The royal tomb reaches 46 meters. Even the lowest temple stands at 38.74 meters tall. So many people have wondered, could this have once been a city inhabited by giants? As for that part, we, as previously shared in the video, City of Giants. If you're curious, feel free to explore it further. In 1985, Petra was added to UNESCO's list of World Heritage Sites. To this day, over 300 people still live in Petra, and some even continue to reside inside the caves. So, if you ever get the chance to visit Jordan, don't miss this hidden giant wonder in the desert. The Altamira cave is a prehistoric art site in Spain. Inside the cave are more than 270 world-famous mural paintings, which for years have been a major subject of study among scholars worldwide. There's also a fascinating story about how the Altamira cave was discovered. In 1879, archaeologist Marcelino and his daughter Maria initially came to the area to collect fossils. But the 14-year-old girl didn't seem interested in her father's work, so she wandered off into a small cave on her own. Since the cave was dark, she lit a candle. And at that moment, the girl suddenly saw a bull staring straight at her, which frightened her so much, she burst into tears. And so, Marcelino climbed in, went in to take a look, and saw not just the bull, but other animals too, all brought vividly to life on the cave walls. And that's how the famous murals of Altamira Cave were discovered. Normally, most caves once inhabited by humans bear traces of primitive wall paintings. However, judging from cave sites around the world, early human art was typically composed of thin, simple lines, often with poor proportions. But the murals found in the Altamira Cave are different. These paintings primarily use red and black pigments and depict various wild animals, such as bison, horses, deer, and wild boars. What's even more astonishing is that the mural figures are accurate in shape, with lively and fluid lines, so much so that it's hard to believe they were created 30,000 years ago. In 1985, the Altamira Cave was officially added to UNESCO's World Heritage List. It is not only a major discovery in prehistoric art, but also a unique and profound glimpse into the lifestyle of our ancestors. Borobudur, the ancient temple located on the island of Java in Indonesia, is the oldest and largest Buddhist stupa complex in the world. It is listed as a UNESCO World Cultural Heritage Site and is considered one of the 7 wonders of the world. Seen from above, the entire Borobudur structure forms a mandala pattern, a sacred symbol in Tantric Buddhism. It faces toward the "why is it so" in the universe? Why was it built in such a way? Moreover, the fact that this symbol can only be seen from above remains a mystery with no clear explanation to this day. This Indonesian pyramid was built in the year 778 AD. According to the Vantara legend of Indonesia, in order to preserve a small portion of the Buddha Shakyamuni's relics, hundreds of thousands of workers were employed over the span of 75 years, or more, to construct Borobudur on this mountain more than 3,000 meters high. The name Borobudur is believed to come from Sanskrit, meaning Buddhist monastery on the hill. Unexpectedly, not long after it was completed, the Buddhist stupa was buried due to a volcanic eruption. As a result, it was forgotten by the world. Until 1815, when British officer Thomas Raffles rediscovered it during his rule over Java. Borobudur was brought back to light once again. The base of Borobudur stretches about 118 meters long, divided into 9 levels and 3 symbolic realms. From bottom to top, they represent the 3 realms in Buddhism: the realm of desire, the realm of form, and the formless realm. Borobudur has entrances in all 4 cardinal directions, guarded by stone lions and stairways leading up to the sacred summit. From the 2nd to the 6th tier, the terraces are square-shaped stone platforms, with each level gradually layer by layer. Surrounding it are corridors, and on both sides of the walls are murals and Buddha statues. The Buddha statues are placed in wall niches. There are a total of 432 statues. Many of the Buddha figures are seated cross-legged on lotus thrones, placed atop square stone platforms. On the 6th level, there are also 3 circular terraces. On these circular tiers are 72 Buddha statues enclosed within stupas. Each stupa has many holes. Inside each one is a cross-legged Buddha statue, life-sized with unique forms and intricate design. The name Chichén Itzá may sound like a mystical place from another world, but in fact, it's located on the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. With an area of at least 5 square kilometers, it was one of the largest cities of the Maya people. This ancient city, built by the Maya civilization, is listed as one of the new 7 wonders of the world and is one of the most visited archaeological sites in Mexico, welcoming over 2.6 million tourists in 2017 alone. And the most iconic structure here is the Temple of Kukulkan, a step pyramid standing about 30 meters tall, composed of 9 square terraces, form the structure. At the very top is a temple that rises 6 meters high. Seen from above, the pyramid appears almost perfectly symmetrical, leaving observers stunned and speechless. It is said that on the afternoons of the spring and autumn equinoxes, a series of triangular shadows fall along the northwest stairway of the pyramid, resembling a serpent slithering down the steps. Some scholars believe this represents the feathered serpent deity, the divine figure associated with Chichén Itzá. Additionally, at Chichén, archaeologists have discovered 13 ball courts used for the Mesoamerican ball game. One of them is the largest and best-preserved ball court in all of ancient Mesoamerica. Ancient Central American ball matches once took place here. Along the walls of the court, there are circular carvings of the feathered serpent. In recent years, the discovery of mysterious underground passageways at Chichén Itzá has only added to the site's mystique. In Maya culture, water is closely tied to religious offerings and sacrificial ceremonies. At the Chichén Itzá city site, Chichén Itzá, including the center of the Temple of Kukulkan, also retains natural wells, limestone caves, and an underground water system hidden across the Yucatan Peninsula. These are all believed to be entrances to the underworld. Many believe that the Chichén Itzá we see above ground today is only the tip of the iceberg. Most of the mysteries of the Maya civilization are actually hidden deep beneath the surface. This theory gained compelling evidence in 2019. Archaeologist Guillermo de Anda originally set out to find a secret passage leading to the Temple of Kukulkan. But incredibly, after crawling through dark, damp tunnels for hours, 7 sacrificial temples gradually appeared before him. At the ancient site, both artifacts and organic remains left by the people of Chichén Itzá were found in an exceptionally well-preserved state. There, they discovered items no one expected, such as incense burners, charcoal braziers, flower vases, and ceramic plates decorated with images of the rain god Chak. Just how many more secrets have the Maya buried beneath Chichén Itzá? This may be a topic worthy of lasting attention. Through the 10 wonders we've just explored, did any of you notice some interesting patterns? I have 2 lingering questions. First, we often assume that the later in history we are, the more advanced and civilized we become. But then, how is it that so many ancient structures, in both form and function, remain mysteries that modern humans still can't fully explain? How did they manage to build such things? Second, nearly every one of these civilizations reached a peak, and then at some point they all seemed to vanish at once. Where did they go? Personally, I'm most intrigued by the purpose of wonder number 3, the stone structure of Göbekli Tepe. Why is it that the structures became smaller and simpler over time, less refined, less artistic? Even the techniques seemed to decline, until the site faded completely. What was the meaning behind that? What about you? What do you think? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section below. And with that, our journey today comes to an end. If you found this video, or any of the content here on Miss Ruby's channel, truly interesting or useful, please share it with a friend who might enjoy exploring with us too. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.